But somehow or other, the forest fire began and is devouring everywhere. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has selected to use this Anala Samsara Dava Anala. Dava Anala means forest fire, not just an ordinary fire. It's a forest fire. The material existence is a blazing forest fire. And it is scorching all the living entities. Lidha Loka. That means that living entities are being scorched by this blazing forest fire of material existence. So, in order to deliver them, Tranaya, Paritran. Trana means to deliver the living entities who are blazing in this forest fire. Then Sri Guru appears as a Karunya Ghana Ganatvam. He comes as a cloud of mercy, a rain cloud of mercy. And where does the cloud come from? Where does the cloud come from? It comes from the ocean. And it's evaporated through the sun. And then it comes and moves across the land, and it can extinguish the blazing forest fire. But actually, that's the only way that a forest fire can be extinguished, because it's not possible for the human beings. They try to control forest fires and so forth, but in actuality, the only thing that can actually put it out is torrents of rain coming down from the sky. You see? So it's like that. No one can stop this blazing forest fire of material existence except Sri Guru. And what is Sri Guru? Where has he gotten? From which ocean has he derived and become a rain cloud pouring this mercy? From the unlimited ocean of auspicious qualities, Sri Krishna himself, Guna Arnavasya. And it's also referring to Guru himself as being like an ocean of auspicious qualities. So, I adore the lotus feet of Sri Gurudev, because without Guru, no one would be delivered. Everyone would have to continue to go on in this blazing fire of material existence. We would not even understand why we're here. How did this begin? How can we get freedom from this? So this is why Guru Vastakam is so important, because this is our first meditation in the morning. Sri Guru. Hey, Jai Govinda Prabhu, do you have your little fly catcher thing? There's one fly that loves me so much.
I'll get him.
He's very expert. Come on, fly. Please come now. We also like you. We're waiting for you.
I'll be here, Maharaj.
Okay.
I think I shoot him off.
Yeah, he might have gone. He might return also. Anyway, so this 8 verses. It's also, I'm discussing this because we're going to begin to discuss Guru Tattva. So it's very appropriate that we are meditating upon Sri Guru now, because we are going to begin reading the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita first chapter. And we are going to discuss this for the coming days. There will be a few intermittent days where, like for example, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami's disappearance day coming, Srila Lokanath Goswami, and so forth, like this. But we'll continue with the topic of Guru Tattva. And I will also bring some very relishable hors d'oeuvres to add to the feast of Guru Tattva Katha by quoting from Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj's book here and there, right? So it's going to be a very interesting journey in the ocean of Guru Tattva. that we're going to go on. Don't miss it. So the second verse, now one thing that Srila Gurudev pointed out is that the Gurvastakam has the first 4 verses are the external symptoms of Sri Guru that can be seen by us. And the last 4 verses are internal symptoms, beginning with verse 5, 6, 7, and 8. So, in the second verse, here, the symptom of Sri Guru is that he is always completely overwhelmed in his mind, Manasodar Sena. He's meditating upon Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Kirtan Ras and how Mahaprabhu is singing, dancing, and musical instruments and all. And so his heart is intoxicated with the Prem Ras of Srimad Mahaprabhu's Kirtan. And being intoxicated in this rasa, Mahaprabhu Kirtan Nritta Gita, Vaditramadyan Manasorasena, then Sri Guru dances and sings and plays various instruments. And becoming intoxicated by love, his hair stands on end, romancha, and he shivers, kampa ashru, kampa, and then ashru taranga. That means he sheds torrents of tears. So Vande Guru Sri Charanarvinda, such a guru. I'm worshipping his divine lotus feet. Come sit over here. Otherwise I'll have to keep turning to see you. Everyone has to sit in the front. Yes. So late today.
Yeah.
Don't come that late. Don't come, because you're going to miss so much. We're going to be diving into, we've already dove into the ocean. After we already into the ocean, and you're not going to get the full, you're not going to get drenched. So come earlier, okay?
Okay.
Yes. Like you were doing. You were coming at least by 6 every day. We're not going to be delaying the class. We're always going to be starting at least by 6 with kirtan, or even 5:30 if devotees come earlier, then we'll start. But we've got a lot to cover in these coming, on the 20th is the disappearance day of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, my Siksha Guru. And I just got a Facebook message. Bhagavad Maharaj's son. He does programs, I think, every night there, and he's broadcasting on his Facebook page. That day, So I think all we need to do is just do what we're already doing, and then I can just direct him to come to Hansagati Prabhu's page.
Do you mind on those kind of like big days, the programs, if we make them around noon, will that work? Because in that way, like, like when Bhakti Rakshak Maharaj, or when Bhakti Maharaj, Gurudev, normally the programs are like
sure, yeah.
Time. So we can have
be better for Florida too.
But do you for Srila Day you always have a big program?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Okay.
Yeah, we always have a good
That's
program.
when Katha starts at noon?
I think I was here last year for that. Yeah.
I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah, normally, on days that we know that the whole community will come, we do it at noon time.
Right.
Yeah.
So on that day,
on that day it will be at noon time,
Okay. All right, yeah. That's good. That's fine with me.
Ornaments that stimulate their Shringara Ras and performing other services such as cleansing the temple. He also gauges the devotees under his guidance in these services. I adore the lotus feet of that Sri Gurudev.
Well, you can say anything, what you understand about this verse.
The Guru is always serving the deities, and engages his disciples in serving the deities.
What kind of service?
Cleansing the temple, doing arati, waking up the deities and putting them to rest. And engages
dressing and decorating.
Dressing and
it's called Srimad. And with ornaments and so forth.
In Archana, one always prays to Sri Guru to perform these services, and one meditates that Sri Guru is actually performing these services and that I am assisting him. Just like the 6 births. Like when how Guru as a manjari is serving the Sakis, and you are meditating on serving also the Sakis under the guidance of Sri Guru as a manjari.
So, like I said, that the first four verses are external symptoms, and the last 4 are internal. So, one thing about these first 4 verses is that this is directly explaining exactly how the disciple becomes engaged in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya, practicing regulative devotional service. Sadhana bhakti, mighty sadhana bhakti. And unless Guru would himself demonstrate, then how would it ever have been possible for the Hare Krishna movement to take its birth in the West? This is a very, very high culture, a very high level, exalted personalities who have extremely deep devotion. But how would we be able to detect that? How would we be able to perceive and experience that in them unless they showed these external symptoms of becoming absorbed in kirtan, for example? Srila Prabhupada, how many persons knew that he's practically the most exalted personality walking the face of the earth when he was in his little temple in 26 2nd Avenue? Could they understand that? Could they understand his internal moods? No. But what he did was he started the Hare Krishna movement with kirtan. He personally went wherever, whether it was in a little office with 2 people before they got the storefront, or finally he went into the park and Shamarani came tagging along, But the point is that our Srila Prabhupada was the perfect example of Sri Guru and what he was giving. And he introduced this song so that his disciples could learn to sing this song and become acquainted with what are the qualities of Guru, what is the reciprocation with Guru, what's his internal moods and all of that, you see. So Guru Tattva in this song is perfectly presented. We have to know this song by heart, without fail. It's actually a sad thing for me when I see that in our Sangha, there are devotees that have been around for years and they still don't know Guru Vastakam. That means that they're not performing Mangalartik, they're not singing and chanting the songs of the Acharyas. This is absolutely essential. Not that people have to become scholars, and memorize thousands of verses, but there are certain things in our culture that if we don't know those, we're way behind. Because this is our sadhana. Every day, the disciple, if he at least should recite this and meditate upon Sri Guru by reciting this prayer. This is part of our sadhana bhajan. So Srila Prabhupada outwardly manifested this song so that his disciples would begin to understand. You know that before he gave initiation, it's like a very miraculous thing that somehow or other, Srila Prabhupada, through the divine Shakti of Nityananda Prabhu, he pulled it off. You know, he was actually able to do it, to get these persons, mostly hippies, and you know, and to bring them into the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition of guru and disciple relationship, right? And worshipping Krishna. And it was just astonishing, miraculous how he did it. But no one could have done it unless they're pure devotee. Pure devotee. So Srila Prabhupada, he preached the message. But before he gave Harikatha to whoever came, he sang. He did kirtan. Mahaprabhu, kirtan and Nritya Gita. Right? So, and he demonstrated, you can see it in the early video, that he performed artik. The devotees, they just knew that Swamiji was doing a ceremony, and they called it bells. Because he had two bells in his hand. You can see it? And you know, he's ringing that, and this close-up of the film that was done is like his eyes are just like, they're just about ready to explode with tears, you know, such devotion. So these early persons who knew nothing, who is this person? Gradually, he awakened their soul through this process. These 4 first verses, his causeless mercy to them, introducing kirtan and engaging them in kirtan, then performing these devotional practices within the realm of deity worship, archana, right? And eventually he even got deities, which Gurudev sent from India, deities. And he taught the devotees how to clean. He personally, himself, would clean and show them how to clean, show them how to keep their bodies clean, you know, engaging them in the process of kirtan and listening to Katha every single day, you know. And by, and then one of the most important is the 4th verse. Now we're coming to that. Let's do the 4th verse now. You want to tell?
Shri Guru feels much contentment in satisfying Shri Hari's devotees with the 4 kinds of Bhagavat Prasad, that which is chewed, sucked, licked, and drunk. By honoring such prasad, material life is destroyed, and true satisfaction, or the bliss of praying, is attained. I adore the lotus feet of that Shri Gurudev.
Can you tell something about this?
Well, actually, as you're speaking of those early days, we know from books and even from film, Srila Prabhupada was reeling them in. In fact, they would even use that analogy, the devotees of the time, that, oh, he's very tricky, he reels people in by giving them this prasad that he would prepare with his own hands. So he was feeding them just like a mother would children, you know, and he would give them prasadam. And even when we first went into that Vatseka temple, it was all empty. It was the parents' day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Prabhupada organized the whole feast, and he actually directed, you know, everyone how to serve, and then would add from the Vyasasana as he went on. He would notice, he would call the servants, he would direct, oh, give this devotee some more of this or that. He would actually, and you could see he was having so much happiness at distributing this prasadam, you know, his Gurudev's prasadam on that day especially. You know, and it was just such joy. So he took more pleasure in that, even though he was just eating with us, but he was so attentive to everybody honoring that prasadam. So I personally got to witness that. So always he saw that as even the next phase of the movement, although he began the movement like that, bringing people in and attracting. As we know, book distribution was taking off. But at one point in 1976, he was like encouraging, now we should distribute prasadam very widely. So I was in one darshan where he said, anyway, open restaurants, sell prasadam in stores. He even said this, he goes, we should make it a national pastime and fill stadiums full of people and distribute Bhagavat Prasad. So he had that vision of like wide distribution of prasadam. So the song, says this is a pure devotee, this is a bona fide Gurudev, and Srila Prabhupada manifested as did Gurudev here. Always concerned every festival. Sure. There was Padmanabha Swami Maharaj feeding like 20,000 people, very attentive to make sure that everyone was given prasadam.
We've just been reading all this nectar of Rath Yatra and Mahaprabhu and his attentiveness to feeding prasadam. It's a very, very big part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. So what is the special thing about prasadam? Why? What's the special thing about it?
It says it right here, that by honoring such prasad, material life is destroyed.
Right.
And true for the bliss of praying is attained.
Yeah, but like when we're new to Krishna consciousness, we didn't know about this thing that everything that you eat should be offered to God. We didn't know that. Prabhupada introduced this culture of eating only Krishna prasadam. Why? Well, is that an important part of our spiritual movement? To take only, why is it very important?
Purifies the mind and soul.
In what way? How does it purify?
Because it's direct remnants of Sri Krishna.
Yes.
And it gives, and the devotee who offered it, that's what it is thinking. Krishna goes into the food, and the qualities of that devotee who is serving Krishna also goes into prasad. And so when one takes that prasad, one gets that same devotion of the devotee who cooked it and offered it.
Yeah, and this connects with the third verse. Shiv Vigraha Radhana Nityanana. Because deity worship means cooking and serving the Lord. Krishna wants to taste. I was just recently hearing, I was happily, because a lot of the lectures that I have of Srila Prabhupada, his lectures, are just like hundreds of lectures, one after the other in different categories, And all of a sudden, boom, the famous lecture of Srila Prabhupada speaking at the installation, I believe it was in LA, when they installed the Radha and Krishna.
69.
Yeah, it was 69. And that's the famous lecture where he talks about Sanatana Goswami and Madan Mohan, and how Madan Mohan was complaining to Sanatana Goswami that, can't you at least provide a little salt? And then Sanatana Goswami had to tell him, my dear sir, as Prabhupada said, I'm not able, I'm a mendicant, I cannot. So Madan Mohan had to accept it without the salt. And Prabhupada was so emotional when he was telling this, And he was talking about how the devotee's mood has to be so humble that, and then Prabhupada himself expressed the mood in the devotee's mind and heart, how he's offering something to Krishna. And he's saying, because who am I? I'm nothing. But you're the Supreme Lord. You've provided everything. Everything is yours. What can I offer to you? So, and I'm rotten and fallen, Prabhupada said. And then Prabhupada's voice cracked and he began to cry. but I have brought these things for you. Please accept. It was one of the most emotional moments in all of Prabhupada's recorded lectures. And he's showing to the devotees, he said, always remember, you are dealing with Krishna. So, deity worship and Bhagavat Prasadam are two very, very important limbs of bhakti. And without this, how would it have been possible for Prabhupada to start the movement? If he was not introducing the devotees to these two aspects of the culture along with kirtan. Prabhupada personally cooked for all those early devotees that moved into the 26th Avenue. Then he taught them how to cook. He personally served the prasadam to them. Can you imagine every day getting from the hands of a Mahabhagavad Vaishnava who just cooked this for Krishna? Even in the very first video, black and white video, very first one, at Dr. Mishra's ashram in upstate New York. And Prabhupada is there, and in the background you can hear the voice of one lady who was one of the disciples of Dr. Mishra. She called her Guruji, and she called Prabhupada Swamiji. And anyway, there was quite a rasa between Prabhupada and Mishra, because Mishra was using my body. But, you know, in India, they're gentlemen. They can discuss, and, you know, they can laugh also. And so they had quite a rasa, and she's talking about that rasa. But then she said that when Swamiji would come, he would cook. Every time that he would come there, he would cook. And he'd be in the kitchen cooking. And if you tried to talk to him at all, he wouldn't even answer you. What he was doing, we cannot even imagine. Like serving Srimati Radhika on the altar. The stove is considered in the altar. That's how holy and sacred is the stove for cooking for the deities. Prabhupada instilled all of this into the whole world of the Vaishnavas. You know, and so, you know, this verse is telling how Sri Guru, he feels very much contentment when he satisfies Sri Hari's devotees with these four kinds of Bhagavat Prasad. I have a little story to tell in this regard with Prabhupada. His final days in Vrindavan. Literally probably 2 weeks or less before he departed. He departed, 77. Srila Prabhupada began not taking anything. And at that time his body was very much just deteriorated. And but his consciousness was completely focused in that condition. Every day we would go into his room. And so while Prabhupada, you know, he startled, actually, he was startling the devotees because he stopped eating. And so the devotees were thinking that Srila Prabhupada is now preparing to leave. You see, he just stopped eating anything. And actually, there's two things that come to my mind right now. But while Prabhupada was in that condition, I was in the room one day. What is that? I was in the room one day, and Srila Prabhupada began to speak, and we were doing little kirtan with small kartals. And then we would stop, and as soon as Prabhupada would, and then everybody would come around his bed, maybe like 10 devotees. And Srila Prabhupada at that time began to ask Tamal Krishna Maharaj, who was acting as his secretary at that time, that are the devotees getting very nice prasadam here at because there was at least 200 or 300 Western devotees, including all the Gurukul children, every day. And we would take prasadam in a big, huge room, like a hall. So then, actually it was Ayodhyapati who was cooking. He was the head cook at that time. And he later became the B.B. Govinda Swami. Did you know him? He's from Canada. Okay. So, anyway, Tamal started to tell Srila Prabhupada in detail what he was cooking. Prabhupada wanted to know each preparation that he was cooking. He said, oh, Srila Prabhupada, the devotees are being fed very nicely. Because Prabhupada probably had even mentioned it before, that he wanted everyone to, now he's asking for a report. Are they getting, you know? So then he described to Srila Prabhupada each and every preparation. He said, yes, Srila Prabhupada, you know, there are at least 2 sabjis every day. Chapatis, rice, dal, pakoras. They were making pakoras almost every day. Chutney, and and maybe some sweet. So here's Srila Prabhupada, who's not eating anything, and he's asking, are the devotees getting very nice prasadam or not, right? So Tamal is happily reporting to Srila Prabhupada, yes, Prabhupada, they are getting very nice prasadam. Here's the preparations. So then Srila Prabhupada quoted this verse, this 4th verse of the Gurvastakam. He quoted the first 2 lines. He's lying on his back, and he says, Chaturvida Sri Bhagavat Prasado Saddhana Triptam Hari Bhakta Sangam. He went like that. Shri Shri Guru Gauran Vedandhar Vikiradani Shri Radha Govinda Ji Ki Jai. So Prabhupada went like that. Saddhana Triptam Hari Bhakta Sangha. And then he said, the spiritual master becomes very pleased when he sees his disciples taking first class prasadam. So we should attach very much importance to each one of these 8 verses. They are the basis of our spiritual life. And the next 4 verses are our final aspirations, which Sri Guru is directly living in that world. Which world? Shri Radhika Madhavayorapada. Madhurya Lila Guna Rupa Nama. Pratikshana Svadana Lolupasya. Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinda. I can say that I understood the meaning of this verse from the early days, but I did not understand the depth of the meaning of this verse. And particularly when I began to be with Srila Gurudev very constantly, pretty much. From that point on, it dawned on me, how important is this and the next verse, these 2 verses, 5 and 6. Because actually, this is the symptom of Sri Guru, that he is always completely absorbed at every moment. It says here, pratikshana. Pratikshana actually means at every moment. Asvadana, lo lupasya. He is always aspiring at every moment in experiencing intense greed in his heart to relish the unlimited sweetness, to relish. Asvadana means to taste, to relish. The unlimited sweetness of Shri Radhika Madhava Ayor Apara Madhurya Lila Guna Rupa Namna. Apara means unlimited. Shri Radhika Madhavayor Apara Madhurya Lila. What is Madhurya Lila? That means Madhurya Rasa, conjugal love. Conjugal love. Some persons were saying that, oh, Srila Prabhupada is in Sakya Ras. But this verse, at that time, I realized that that's ridiculous. He himself has sung this song. Every guru in our disciplic succession is depicted in this song. And here, he's relishing Radhika Madhava, Radha and Krishna's unlimited Madhurya Leelas, their sweet conjugal loving pastimes, Guna Rupa Nam Nam, their transcendental qualities, their Rupa, their forms, Nam Nam, all of their divine names. And then, yes, Pratikshana Asvadana Lolupasya. Lolupasya means he's always aspiring, always aspiring to taste all these qualities and pastimes. So this is his internal mood. How would the devotees in the beginning of the movement be able to understand what is the internal mood of Sri Guru? But they were singing the song, and they were learning the translation to it, and they were developing their relationship with their spiritual master. But much more is to be revealed to the disciple. Then the 6th verse, which is the most confidential verse, pointing out in his perfected eternal spiritual form, Sri Guru is serving in the most confidential forest groves, kunjas, nikunja, where Radha and Krishna, along with all the gopis, are performing their pastimes. And Sri Guru is assisting in the form of a manjari, in the form of a very beautiful, eternal, youthful Palyadasi of Radha and Krishna in the forest groves. And in that form, Sri Guru is extremely balabhasya. Balabhasya means very beloved of the divine couple, very confidential servitor. The translation: in carrying out the Sakhi's arrangements for the perfection of Sri Sri Radha Krishna's amorous pastimes within the groves of Vrindavan, Sri Guru is masterfully adept and thus especially dear to them. I adore the lotus feet of that Sri Gurudev. So here is the praman. This is the praman that Sri Guru is a confidential Palyadasi in female form. Some persons have caused a great disturbance after Gurudev's departure, his avowed disciples, by putting forward a new philosophy that Srila Gurudev absolutely never, ever, ever accepted. And not only didn't accept, he directly spoke against it, that it's wrong, 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 and wrong. But they tried to put forward that Sri Guru is a cowherd, and but a special category of friend of Krishna who are called the Priyanarma Sakhas, who are very much aware of Sri Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, whereas many of they are always with Baladev when Krishna goes with one of his personal friends to meet the gopis. All the other cowherd boys, they don't know where Krishna is going, because Sakya Rasa and Madhurya Rasa are not mixing at that time. So the confidential meetings that Sri Krishna has with Srimati Radhika and all the gopis in the middle of the day, in the evening, and so forward, that our Srila Prabhupada is a Sakya Rasa, a cowherd boy of this category. And they try to argue that they also can experience the moods of the gopis. But there was a tremendous discussion about this over a period of practically one entire year, and they completely failed to present any praman from the books of Rupa Goswami and so forth. So it was concluded that they are wrong, wrong, and wrong, and wrong. Those are Gurudev's exact words. Okay? So this verse, Nikunja Yuna Rati Keli Sitai, is talking about Guru. And what they try to say is that, well, this is a general prayer for Guru. It doesn't necessarily mean that every Guru is in the category of Madhurya Rasa. That's the point that they were trying to say that. But this is very specific. This is talking about every Guru in the line of Sri Rupa Goswami is in Madhurya Rasa. Otherwise, why did we like this? So, those are the internal moods and identity of Sri Guru. And the last two verses of this prayer are especially important for the disciple, especially the next verse, verse number 7. I remember every single time that Srila Bhakti Balabhatirtha Goswami Maharaj speak in his Mangala Charana, before he would speak, he would chant this verse. Very, very devotionally. You know, he had a special way of singing and kirtan and chanting his verses, and he would chant the verse very slow and very articulating the verse and very deeply absorbed, like Sakshad Haritena Samasta Shastrai Ruptashtata Bhavyata Eva Sadabhi Kintu Prapuya Priya Eva Tasya Bandi Guru Shri Charanarvindam, like that, he would sing. So, why is this verse important? This verse is what is going to be discussed in the first chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We're going to learn this Guru Tattva. What is the meaning of this verse? So, you read the verse and you read the translation.
All scriptures unanimously Sakshat Hari, directly Hari. This is a fact jointly corroborated by all saintly persons. Yet at the same time, Sri Guru is very dear to Bhagavan. For the lotus feet of that Sri Gurudev, who is inconceivably and different.
Tell something.
Here it's the purpose is already here. It's saying that Sri Guru is directly Sakshatari, that the Guru is actually Krishna. Krishna accepts the form of the Guru. Krishna will never give the seed of bhakti directly. He'll either tell someone, Sri Guru, to give the seed of bhakti to the disciple, or Krishna will then become Guru and give the seed directly. When Gurudev was speaking to Krishna said, Gurudev, you should know that I'm the Acharya. You should never think of him as an ordinary or human being.
Yeah. That verse we will also be reading in the first chapter. Very key verse from Krishna himself. So the Guru Tattva principle is Sri Krishna himself. Who is doing this rescuing of the jivas from the endless chain of birth and death and the cycle of, and being condemned within the material world to accept lifetime after lifetime, one body after another in millions and millions of species of life? Who is the personality who is actually saving and rescuing the fallen souls?
Krishna. I'd like to also mention one point is that Bhakti Kumar Shanta Maharaj, he once said, Jivre Surabhoy Guru Nitya Das. All jivas are eternal servants of Sri Guru.
Right. So, but here the point is, who is Guru?
Krishna.
What is the identity of Guru? This is a very confidential thing that the disciple must realize. It is essential that a disciple must realize this. How Sri Guru is Sakshad Haritena. What does that mean? Sakshat means directly. Haritvena, Haritva means directly Hari. He is this tattva. He is this. Sri Guru is Krishna tattva.
So are we to understand that the very, what appears to be external body, the male form of Guru, that itself, we've just learned from the other verses, is internally engaged in his manjari form, but that external form of Sri Guru is, through that, Krishna has come to deliver the fallen souls. So that form is actually not material, it's actually spiritual.
That's correct. Actually, I've seen a number of times when devotees would ask our Gurudev that, what is Srila Prabhupada's, or Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, what is his eternal form in Gaur Leela, in Lord Chaitanya's Leela? Because that in this disciplic succession, the Guru can have two forms, one in Radha and Krishna, in Gauranga Mahaprabhu pastimes, even in the Nitya Dham, the eternal spiritual world. Like that. And Srila Gurudev's reply was, oh, you have not seen him? You have not seen him? What does that mean?
Means this is his form in Gaura Leela.
Yes.
So it means this is Gurudev's form in Gaura Leela.
Yes. Because they're existing within. This is the Gaur Leela. They're not within the frame of the souls. They're connected with the eternal flow of Gaur Leela. Otherwise, how they can be Sadguru? Sadguru. They're living within that reality. Internally and externally, they're fulfilling the order of potential servant. In the case of Srila Prabhupada particularly, Lord Nityananda, divine Shakti had to descend to help him. Feeling completely helpless and praying. So divine power had to descend. I have those exact words. Actually, Madhukar found them. 2 different lectures, 2 excerpts he sent to me in my email like a year ago. Because I told him this a couple of years ago and he was blown away. From my memory, I was telling what Srila Sridhar Maharaj, how he told about Prabhupada's empowerment, And he said, Maharaj, I found it. And he sent to me in an email 2 different excerpts on 2 different occasions where Srila Sridhar Maharaj was talking about how Srila Prabhupada became Shakti Avesh of Nityananda Shakti. You see. So, hold that 1 minute. So the understanding of the non-difference of Guru is essential for a disciple. The non-difference, how he is Krishna, but at the same time, his own internal mood is not that, but for the disciple, must see him as Krishna. That the disciple sees him as direct manifestation of Krishna, of Hari. But his mood and his relationship with Hari, Priya Eva Tasya, extremely dear, extremely dear. That's why we pray Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Preshtaya. Because Preshta, Krishna Preshta, means very dear to Krishna. So both of these are described here in this verse. And that's why Mayavadis, who try to cheat everyone and say that I'm Bhagavan, they are completely rascals, the greatest cheaters. Because they're taking advantage of the conditioned soul's faith, because the disciple must have that faith. But because they're rascals and cheaters, they manipulate that faith and tell them, I am Bhagavan, I am Krishna. This goes on again and again and again in India, even in Vaishnava circles, so-called Vaishnava, you know. So, what were we gonna?
That leads to this point about this here, is it also is stating that not only does it proclaim in the scriptures, but unanimously across the board.
Yes.
And also stating that this fact is then held solidly in place, corroborated by Sadhu Sangha, the many different saintly personalities, so it's protected by the safety of numbers.
That's right.
People who can see this incarnation of Srila Gurudev embodied.
Yes, know the Guru Tattva principle, but because this is not just talking only of one Guru, this is talking about all Gurus. All true Gurus, Sadgurus, they're all manifestations of Hari. And so therefore Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has, as you just said, he has given the evidence here that this truth, this principle that Sri Guru is Sakshad Hari, a manifestation of the Lord, is corroborated by all scriptures and all sadbi, means pure devotees, saintly persons, fully realized persons. So this is not some speculation. It is a fact. And, you know, the conditioned soul wandering in this material universe, life after life, has not directly met Krishna until they meet Guru. When they meet Sri Guru, it is the first time that they're meeting Krishna. Krishna is like, it's a manifestation of Krishna. It's called Prakash Vigraha. Prakash means manifestation, not incarnation, but manifestation. There's different types, and we'll study that in the first chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Different types of incarnations of the Lord. So this Prakash Vigraha is a manifestation of Balaram. First non-different manifestation as Krishna. So through his expansion, Sri Krishna is directly rescuing all the conditioned souls. It is Krishna who is doing that. And Krishna's pure devotees play that role. They play that most essential role of becoming the father and giving the mantra and raising the child so that they can serve Krishna eternally. It's the most loving exchange that anyone can have with anyone in this material world. There is nothing more intimate than this. So therefore, the disciple must learn how to develop the mood of Vishramba, Seva. Vishramba means loving, affectionate service. Vishramba. This is the statement of Rupa Goswami, Vishrambena Gurur Seva, in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This is one of the 64 principles. Vishrambena Guru Seva. To serve Sri Guru as one's most intimate, beloved guide, everything, father, all of this. It has to be there in the heart of the disciple. Otherwise, the disciple cannot really receive true transcendental knowledge from Sri Guru if that relationship is not developed. It must be developed, that loving, affectionate service to Sri Guru. And then finally, we're going to finish the 8th verse, Yasya prasada de bhagavat prasado, Yasya prasada na. So here, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given the most essential principle of the relationship between Guru and disciple, in that the disciple is completely dependent upon the mercy of Guru. Completely dependent upon the mercy of Guru. Therefore, Yasya Prasada means his mercy, Guru, Sri Guru's mercy. Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasado. How do you get Krishna's mercy? First you get Guru's mercy. Because Krishna's mercy follows Guru's mercy, not vice versa. In some ways we can say that Krishna has, shown his mercy to the conditioned soul to bring Guru to him, and that's true. But in of developing the soul's relationship with Krishna, Guru is absolutely essential. Because Krishna will only accept a soul if that soul has pleased his messenger, his servant, and received the mercy of Sri Guru. And when that happened, immediately, Krishna gives his mercy. Now, he's telling that in this verse, but then after saying this, then he says, if the disciple does not receive the mercy of Guru, it says, Yasya prasada na. Na means negative. If he doesn't receive the mercy. So we know if he does receive the mercy, then he receives the mercy of Krishna. But if he doesn't receive the mercy, then what?
Not make advancement.
Na gati gutopi. That's correct. Actually, gati means your destination, what you are trying to achieve. Gati, your goal, right? But here it says, na gati gutopi. Srila Prabhupada translated that as his whereabouts are unknown. Remember? He translated it in that way. And it means gutopi. It is not certain to that person who does not receive the mercy of Guru. But it is absolutely certain that if he receives the mercy of Guru, he absolutely receives Krishna's mercy. You see? Therefore, he's telling, because of this truth, because of this principle, therefore the disciple must meditate upon Sri Guru. And it says, Dhyayan stuvams tasya yashas tri sandhyam. Here there is a regulated principle being given to the disciple that at least 3 times daily, the morning, midday, and evening, the disciple must meditate on Guru, dhyayam, think about him. Stuvam, he must recite prayers to Sri Guru. How are you translating it here? It says, meditate on and singing, meditate on Sri Guru's glories at the day. So, mercy of Sri Guru, one can receive the mercy of Bhagavan. Without it, one cannot make any advancement. Meditate on and singing. There's a mistake grammatically here. Yes, I know. Okay, meditate on and sing Sri Guru's glories at the three sacred junctions of the day. But actually it doesn't mean only 3 times. That's the purport. The purport is that the disciple should practice to remember Sri Guru 3 times daily, and that also means chanting your Gayatri mantras at the Tri Sandhyam, the 3 times of the day. But this is to develop the habit and the internal and external practice of the disciple constantly cultivating his relationship with Sri Guru, worshipping Sri Guru. And then this will take place. And the final verse, which is the 9th verse, is telling what will happen to a disciple who does sing this Gurvashtakam every day. The translation is Muhurta loudly and attentively recites this Gurvashtakam is sure to achieve direct service to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, who is the life and soul of Vrindavan, at the end of his current life, upon attaining Vastu Siddhi, his eternal spiritual form. So this is to the topic of Guru Tattva, which we're going to be studying now for the coming days, of the first chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita and so forth. And there are other topics in between of the different acharyas, disappearance days and so forth. But this will go on probably up to the time of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's day. And then we're going to be focusing on the Julan Yatra and disappearance day of Rupa Goswami. And then after that, Janmastami, Baladev Purnima, Radhastami, and I was looking at the calendar before and like, okay, we're just going to keep flowing. That's why we're here. That's what it's for. All of this is, we're taking this in a very favorable way, because this is what we have to do now. We can't pretend, well, I'm going to do this. No, you're here. You're here, and you're going to get into this. So I'm preparing myself in this way, and it's very, very good, very, very beneficial. And Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who controls the movement of every atomic particle. So we don't have to worry or think about anything except doing our bhakti, right? Or Premanandi. Jai Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki Jai, Jai Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Guru Tattva ki Jai, Shri Radha Govinda ki Jai, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Jai, Gaur Premanandi.
Padmanabha Maharaj ki jai.
I'm just finishing my class. I'll call you back, okay? Okay, I will. Nice timing. Whoa, almost full. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhar Vikadinhar Radha Govinda ki Jai. Jai Shri Radha Govinda ki Jai. Shri Gaur Arti ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Jugo Arti ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. Shiva Jayo Jayo Gaura Chandi Shobha Shiva Jayo